You know, I've had people reach out to me several times and say, hey, Brando, you really shouldn't use words like fascist to describe Donald Trump. You need to be careful when you use those kind of words, and you really shouldn't use the word cult. You're just taking it too far. That's a pretty big stretch to call it that. Actually, I don't think it's a stretch at all, and I don't actually think it's harsh enough, because that's exactly what they are. And if you want Exhibit A as to just how cultish this is, take a look at this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light, was so proud.
Yeah, he comes out on stage to the words, let's all stand for the January 6th hostages who have been treated so unfairly, and that's them. That's the insurrectionists singing the national anthem that he's standing there saluting. So no, I'm not out of line for calling him a fascist, and I'm not out of line for saying that they're in a cult, because that's exactly what it is. Donald Trump has done nothing but continue to double down on his rhetoric. He's pushing it harder than ever, because at the end of the day, he's got nothing. The guy's got no new ideas. He has no solutions. He can't debate Biden on any of those issues because he doesn't have a solution to a problem. So the only thing he can do is to continue to hammer this rhetoric down really hard and just drive it home with people who are sitting back on the fence just ready to go to war for him. He is speaking to the absolute most deranged and sick people. And as far as Hillary calling them deplorable, she was way too nice when she said that. The people Donald Trump is talking to now are gone. They checked out a long time ago. I mean, and I know that sounds cruel and harsh, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to back down off of that. It's just the truth. And Trump goes out here and he uses words like vermin, and he uses words like poison in the blood. I want you to take a look at this clip, and I want you to see how far they stretch and how far they reach to justify that type of rhetoric. Roll this clip.
When you talk about illegal migrants, and it's a huge crisis at the border, and after 3 years, obviously the Democrats bear the primary responsibility, why do you use words like vermin and poisoning of the blood? The press, as you know, immediately reacts to that by saying, well, that's the kind of language that Hitler and Mussolini used.
Well, that's what they say. I didn't know that, but that's what they say. Because our country is being poisoned. Look, we have, and we can be nice about it. We can talk about, oh, I want to be politically correct, but we have people coming in from prisons and jails, long-term murderers, people with sentences that the rest of their lives they're going to spend in some jail in some country that many people have never even heard of. They're all being released into our country. These are murderers. These are people at the highest level of crime. And then you have mental institutions and insane asylums. I always say the difference is one is Silence of the Lamb. You know, it's a mental institution on steroids, okay? And those mental institutions and insane asylums are being emptied out into the United States. And then you have terrorists pouring in at levels that we have never seen before. This is a horrible thing. Only bad is going to come of it. A friend of yours, Sean Hannity, said it's 100% certain that there'll be big problems here very soon. He means an attack.
I know there's a lot of concern
about that. And
he
does say that, and I say, you happen to be right.
But here's my theory, that you use over-the-top, sometimes inflammatory language, because that drives the media debate. Did Trump go too far? And then you get the next several news cycles talking about your issue and, you know, whether your language was too much or wasn't enough. Any thought that I might be right on that?
It also gets people thinking about very important issues, that if you don't use certain rhetoric, if you don't use certain words that maybe are not very nice words, nothing will happen. That did stir debate, but it happens to be true.
So I just want to say, no one can fairly accuse me of spreading hyperbole or trying to create a panic again. Because the first half of that clip, that's all he's doing is trying to get people all worked up when he's talking about they're sending the absolute worst. It's deranged, insane people from insane asylum. It's hardened criminals and serial killers and murderers. Where is his evidence for any of that? Where is his actual proof? He has none. All Donald Trump is doing is vilifying people who are trying to come here to make a better way for themselves. And it plays right into the hands of the people who would be so sick in the head that they would stand up and salute the January 6th insurrectionists. But then at the end of that clip, I watched that and I was like, there are people in this world who I used to consider reasonable people who will look at something like that and go, well, yeah, maybe he's got a point here. The fact that he tries to say, well, you say these type of things, you say all these over-the-top things, and maybe you go too far, but you do it just so everyone will start having the conversation on your issue. You do it just so the media will start talking about the important issues at hand. That has got to be one of the most deranged things the dude has ever said, ever. Because he's not talking about solutions. It's not about trying to get his ideas out there. He's trying to tell us exactly who he is. And I know I keep driving these points home, and folks, I'll tell you something. I may get repetitive between now and the election, but I played in dive bars for years, and one thing I learned about playing music in front of people is this. The reason that songs become hits is because people keeps playing them. It's because they stay stuck in your head. When somebody comes up and says, hey, I want to hear that song, it's because they have a memory attached to that song because that song got drilled into their head. Well, I'm not out there trying to drill Take It Easy by the Eagles into anybody's head anymore, okay? I gave that up a long time ago. What I'm trying to do now is drill into everybody's head this point that this guy is saying out loud he wants to be dictator on day one. He wants to terminate the Constitution. He wants to negotiate a third term. He wants to have mass deportations. This guy is saying all these things, and I'll be damned if I'm going to sit back on the ropes and allow him to go, oh, I was just saying those type of things to get people talking, to get people to talking about the real issues. Listen, if you wanted to talk about the real issues, you would come to the table with solutions, and you would come to the table with ideas instead of nothing but fear and hyperbole and your panic and your rhetoric. That's all he has left. And it's sad to say, but where's the Republican Party? Where did they go? They're completely lost in this whole mess because now they've just got that as the front runner. They've got that out front. I mean, the old Republican Party didn't have any ideas either, but at least John McCain took the microphone away from the dingbat that tried to say Obama was a Muslim. We're not going to give him a pass, and we're not going to say, oh yeah, he's just outsmarting everybody here. He's just using this rhetoric. I'm never going to trust that. I'm going to take him serious when he uses these words. I'm going to take him very seriously because I know what this country was about, and I know what we were meant to be, and we were never supposed to be ran by a fascist dictator. That's everything that our grandparents' generation fought against. And it's everything that people in this part of the world was against too. Everybody was against it too until Trump came along and powered their hatred, and they all said, oh, well, hell, he empowered me to say the N-word, so yeah, let's just make him the dictator. It's bullshit. And we're going to sit here and call bullshit. And for all the people out there, oh, I love seeing that guy get worked up. Well, just buckle up, buddy. Because I'm going to be sitting right here in this chair talking as long as there's breath in my body. And as long as that guy's out there posing a threat to our democracy. And in my mind, he sure as hell is, and I'm never giving him a pass for it.